All right, last and I would say definitely least here, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Beast Wars Ramhorn, our final member of the Tripredacus team, one of the two combiners from the Beast Wars toy line. Already took a look at Cicadacon and C-Clamp, and then for our next video, we'll be looking at the full combined mode. But for today, we're just going to be focusing on Ramhorn, the rhinoceros beetle here. And yeah, definitely I would say this is my least favorite of the three. It's not a terrible figure. I just think that it has a little bit less going for it. It's a little bit messier. It's definitely the one that I think suffers the most from the combiner gimmick. But yeah, has a pretty decent little rhinoceros beetle mode here. I do love the sort of like pearlescent brown plastic that they've used. It's a little bit like redder compared to the plastic that they used on C-Clamp, but it just still does have a little bit of that sort of like translucency to it. But yeah, it's a little bit weird how, four of the bug legs are like way in the back here and then the other two are way in the front, but otherwise I think it's a decent rhinoceros beetle mode. In terms of articulation, the head is on a ball joint so it can rotate around like that. The horn itself can also hinge up and down, and then the front legs here are on ball joints, which unfortunately means that, because like if you'd want him to be sitting, you'd want him to actually be supported on these, but after time it does kind of just like droop down, so he doesn't sit quite as upright as he could. Like you'd like him to stay like that, and he does okay. I've tightened up those ball joints a couple of times, but still after a while it does kind of droop down eventually. And also I find that I can never totally get these pieces sitting like totally flush with each other, so that's not great either, but otherwise it's a pretty decent mode. Now this figure is another one that I'm missing the weapon for. He does have like a big claw weapon that's supposed to store on the inside here using this little clip point, which I no longer have, or I never had it because I just got these guys on an eBay listing a while ago, and it was cheaper to find them without the accessories, and I didn't think they were totally necessary. But yeah, okay, rhinoceros beetle mode. I love the plastic, and I think that he looks pretty decent in this mode. In terms of comparisons for him, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe, just for that average size deluxe comparison, and here he is with Kingdom Waspinator for a modern bug Beast Wars figure. But yeah, to get onto transformation to his robot mode, his legs here are just kind of folded up underneath here like this. They tab into the side. You just want to untab them and then rotate them down, and then rotate the foot forward like that. Then you kind of take this shell, fold it out to the side, and then his arms will actually fold out on these purple armatures here. I do appreciate that he hides the purple in his bug mode a bit more than the other two do, since yeah, it does kind of like take away from the aesthetic, I think, of the other two to have the purple showing in their insect modes, well, insect and crustacean. But yeah, no, he's still got the same purple as the other two. And then, but basically what you do is you take these sections, they split like this, and then you take the front legs here and they flip around on these hinges, and then you flip these kind of past them so that these will actually sit forward on the chest. They're actually just on a hinge here and on a ball joint there. So you kind of bring them forward like this and then sort of tab them back together. It never sits like totally perfectly, but that's basically how you want it. And then you bring down this section for the head and it sits like that. And then you can rotate around the head and then fold open these two sides of the bug head to reveal his robot mode head. And this piece, unfortunately, like it's a little bit loose. So what I usually do is I, leave it folded up like this, and then I use these bug legs and kind of drape them over it just to kind of help hold it in place. It's not like a perfect solution, but it more or less holds it in place. But yeah, there we have Ramhorn in his robot mode. And yeah, I'd say this is definitely the messiest of the three robot modes. It's not terrible, but it's a little bit awkward looking. He does have a kind of silly looking head sculpt here, and because of the way it attaches, the ball joint is like between the two parts of the jaw, so you can hinge open and close his mouth, and also like separate his head, which is a little bit strange because that's the only swivel he has. Getting into articulation, the head can rotate around like this, but the bottom jaw always stays in place, which is a little strange. And then you can also hinge this forward if you want to be some sort of like horn attack mode. The shoulders are on ball joints here, which can rotate around like that and hinge out to the side. The elbows are unfortunately like right below the shoulders, and he also kind of has that gorilla elbows thing going on, just like C-Clamp. And then his little hands here, are big hands, can hinge back and forth. So his arms are just generally kind of weird. And then he does have this hole on either side to hold his weapon if I had it. But yeah, and then nothing at the waist. Hips are on ball joints, which can go forward and back before they just bump into this. Also, here's his Predacon spark crystal, or the rub sign right there. And then the knees are on ball joints, which gives him a thigh swivel and a pretty deep knee bend for transformation. And then the feet can hinge forward and back. So, decent articulation, just kind of a weird looking robot mode. Generally, just a little bit more awkward and clumsy than the other two, in my opinion, but not terrible. Just definitely the weakest of the three. But yeah, to get onto comparisons in this mode, here he is again with Sideswipe and with Waspinator, just so you can see what he looks like with those average modern deluxes there. And here he is again with C-Clamp and Cicadacon, just so we can see what all three of them look like together in their robot modes. And yeah, like I said, I think that Cicadacon is my favorite, with C-Clamp at a close second. Ramhorn is definitely my least favorite of the three by far, but he's not terrible. There's still some stuff to enjoy about this figure. He's just a little bit klutzier than the other two, in my opinion. But yeah, for our next video, we're going to be taking a look at the full combined mode. And yeah, no, these guys are a pretty cool set overall. I haven't mentioned yet also that the Tripredacus Council did show up in the Beast Wars show, which notionally are these three characters, but they really look like pretty much nothing like they do in the show. So they're not like really great stand-ins for those characters from Beast Wars, even if technically they're supposed to be the same characters. But yeah, either way, yeah, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and we'll be back next time to take a look at Tripredacus in full. But without further ado, here we have Transformers Beast Wars Ramhorn.